Peace, peace, salam, salam, shalom, hotep, Borogani, all that good stuff. Abdul Abin, we back at it. This phase of reaction to this one. I've been doing a lot of information ever since this whole DNA thing came out. This is from World Philosopher 101, talking about the origins of who Cristobal Cologne or Christopher Columbus, the devil that sailed the ocean blue. We're going to see about his origins and who he was, at least from the narrative of this one subscriber, this channel. Shout out to you. Um, so yeah, let's get into this content real quick. A little reaction. Let's see what your opinions are. Whoa, like Jack Black. Just a joke. No bullying. No bullying.
Yes, Christopher Columbus, the discoverer of America, was Jewish.
Look at that smile. Look at that smile. That just seems disingenuous to even use that type of verbiage of talking about the genocide that Christopher Columbus brought. Not only that, the modern day, well, the classical, I guess you would say, day Epstein colonies within a lot of these countries today that are over sexualized and very Christianized, Catholic, part of me, either or. Saying he discovered these people that have already been there is still saying that is insane, sir.
That's not as much of a secret nowadays. But to think that that was a secret for hundreds of years, all through the most...
I just started hearing about Christopher Columbus being Jewish. I never really knew that growing up. This is news to me, actually.
highlighted moments of anti-Semitism and the fascists' focus on the prominent Jewish figures. People think they know their history. They think Christopher Columbus was Italian. It is very well documented that he could not speak Italian. You can see his letters, and examining anything that Christopher Columbus left behind, you can see it. But you have to keep in mind that in his lifetime, it was a very dangerous thing to be openly Jewish. In fact, he worked very hard to hide it. Everything about his life.
Yeah, I heard there's a lot of crypto Jews. They will come under disguise with different names or change the names. It's just historically been done and known. I know that.
Being Jewish.
Jesuit order, I hear, was started by Jews. I heard crypto Jews as well of Catholicism. I think Columbus was a Catholic, right?
Jewish, he erased. It's what he did in thoughts of death that give it away. The irony of, in death, bringing the life of his Jewish life back to life. It's in his will, the tithe that's left to the poor. It's very systematically structured to comply with Judaic law and the Torah. It's also in the way he signed his name on documents. It's in code, and it can be verified that it's Hebrew. And 12 of his letters to his sons in the upper left-hand corner is a very specific Hebrew phrase, with God's help. Now you can say that that's not proof. You can call out, show me the proof on many major things, chiefly religion. Someone says that Jesus is the Son of God. You say, prove it. You get an interesting response. Well, what difference is there with something else that you're pretty sure?
Well, as many may know, as a Muslim, I know Jesus was not the Son of God. He was the Son of Mary.
With your heart and soul is the truth. One thing is for certain, in the 15th century, it was very dangerous to be openly Jewish. in Spain or England or France, these places, it was believed.
Okay, while he's saying that right there, I just want to pull up something real quick because I wanted to show you guys my chart once again. Is I'm blown away. So with the K, that is my mother's lineage. All right. So I don't know if this is so old where in the 1500s where they were there, or this was so old where the first temple was destroyed and people went into Rome. Okay. I say that because let me put it up here. So boop bam, because my in antiquity classical uh profile, my classical right here, it does show North Africa and it does show Turkey, Levant. Okay, so a lot of if these Ashkenazi people are just from Poland and just from Germany and things like that, then these wouldn't be showing up. You know, of course, in ancient Egypt, they'd have the least amount of energy and information. You know, kind of Freudian slip. I guess it's the same though. But check this out. Yeah, the thermal is looking drunk right now, but I'm sober. Little late night video for y'all. Information, news you could probably use. But yeah, so let's go back to my autosomal, no, to my maternal and paternal haploid group. Now it says K right here, as you can see, distribution map from the Levant is as even as far as what's that French Suriname. Okay, um, so the migration map. Everybody started from Ethiopia, Africa, Kenya. You know what I mean? So like I said, there is Middle Eastern route called the Near East route up to Turkey. Turkey was also connected with Greece, the Eastern Empire. That R also ends up here. But mine branched off of the U. All right. The same ones that went into, was that Austria? I don't know what that is. And France. And that U branched off into K. All right. Okay. Haploid K is one of the two prevalent maternal lineages in Ashkenazi Jewish population. Now, remember, I told you that's just a maternal for the idiots that like to be amazed and just say ignorant comments. Okay. So by the black Hebrew Israelite side, I'll be Israelite on this side, and by the rabbinical laws, a lot of Israelis, then I would be a Jew, right? So let me go to boom. Now, a new add to my update has a little Igbo in there, which I thought it was very interesting. Some Igbo do relate as Hebrew and also parts of the Limba in Kenya. It doesn't say Lua anymore. On my ancestry DNA one said Lua, but now it just says this is Kenya Bantu, okay? And Ovambu was also added. So those are just the little things that have been changed. My African DNA more updated, and the Y chromosome does say Southern South Cameroon and Benin, the highest populations for my Y chromosome. Now, on the European side, it shows Germany. It doesn't show Italy at all. But this is the interesting things about maternal and autosomal. This is autosomal, but maternal is all the way back mother, 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 mother. Paternal, father, father, father. All right. All right, now let's get back to this guy talking about the original Epstein. Boom, boom.
Expulsion. And they were, but many stayed behind and changed their names and converted to Catholicism and lived entire fictitious lives, while being prominent figures in commerce. When you think about Columbus, most people are aware of the savagery that he enacted. His
Some of the worst atrocities in the world, eons worse, considering the numbers and the prolonging, eons worse than the Holocaust. Something that's still going on in the New World today, all the way up to Jim Crow, all the way up to Sandra Bland. Not to mention the Banana Republic, the Schools of Americas,
biography, as it is given out in
the child essaying in the Catholic Church,
modern times, isn't very flattering
the Christopher Columbus ordered the Ku Klux Klan.
anymore anyway. I mean, he was a nasty person. The slavery and the mistreatment of the people in the West Indies.
That just looks like just a disingenuous face right there. I'm sorry, in my humble opinion,
Uh,
quite callous and just calculating, like Obama. Like yeah, like a politician. It was bad, but yes.
most things about him are messed with by historians and people either trying to clean it up or make it worse than it is, when the central truth was
Who's trying to clean it up? Who's trying to make it worse? I don't know how much worse. The worst of things you can do to someone. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that oppression is worse than death. Okay? Let alone the MK Mine Ultra that has been used by Eastern European superpowers, won't say any names, and PSYOP, psychological operations, not just like telekinesis, not like that, but psychological things, repeating messages, lights, music, temperature. Who's doing that?
he was what's called a converso, a Marano, a crypto Jew.
A converso amorano. What did he say? Morano.
What's called a converso, a Marano,
Converso amorano.
a crypto Jew, who was simply trying to make a better life for himself out of just being in a situation of desperate appeal for escaping the oppression. He thought by finding this new world for the king and queen of Spain that he would find.
Just real quick, I had to see what this word meant. He kind of went past that. Maranos is a term for Spanish and Portuguese Jews, as well as Navarrese Jews who converted to Christianity, either voluntarily or by Spanish or Portuguese. Marano. Wow. Maranos. Wow. During the 15th, 16th centuries, who continued to practice Judaism in secrecy or were suspected of it. They were also called crypto Jews, Maranos. Maranos. Okay.
A reprieve from the oppression by bringing them gold and wealth. He thought that he was writing himself a license in life. No. Once that he did what they wanted, he was thrown in jail and treated very badly. Conveniently just destroyed in the end. And Jews to this day celebrate his name in spirit with a wink that shows no eye closing with the word Columbia. The District of Columbia is in memory of Christopher Columbus. The big secret. Big secret. That's why it's called District of Columbia. Because this king of the Jews of modern times founded the country.
Did he say this king of Jews of modern times, Christopher Columbus? Wow. Wow. Spiritually, he sold his soul to be a Catholic, to go flee his charges that were in Italy, to work for Spain, to find a quicker route to India. All right? Very lucrative. But instead of finding India, they went to the Americas. They didn't know the currents and they needed Moors, which is funny you say converso Maranos. Moors, Morisco Moor, Maur, Moor just means black. Doesn't necessarily mean Muslim in classical times. Just means black. But you're saying this man, this heathen, in the Torah, he would be considered a heathen, charlatan. Uh, to change the word of God is also a very big sin, right? But this modern day king of Jews, wow, that was some Epstein shit, bruh.
that they were able to use to liberate themselves. That's the big secret. And he's the man that did it. In his will, a very special provision that what money he had that didn't go to his sons.
Yeah, I don't want to hear none of that righteous shit you trying to say. Let's look at some of these comments. All right. Americans are truly clueless to this fact. They have no clue how owned they are. This Jewish man says this. They have no clue how owned they are. Americans are truly clueless to this fact. They have no clue how owned they are. We have no clue how owned we are. America is the new Israel in disguise. Wow. Not only Jewish, but Columbus was also a Mason. Catholic shit. Okay. There were others on the voyage that were Maranos or Jews under Christian cloak all around the monarchy. The voyages were a gamble. Spain did not want the Portuguese to gain Maranos. All right. This is after the Reconquista of Spain. And wow. Shout out to the Moors out there. But yeah, let me know what y'all think, man. I'll do the ab and we out. Mind blowing shit. Things that make you go,